Hi guys, welcome back. It's a slightly different video today. We're looking at rifle bags. Now the one on my back is an Elltech Guardia bag, so that's one of Optic's Warehouse's own brands if you like. It looks incredibly similar to the nuprol bags, and I'm going to also get my Ridgeline sniper out so we can do a comparison between them. Now the Ridgeline is about 3 times the price of the Elltech on my back, and so far I've got to be honest, this looks like an absolute bargain. So we're going to get a nice little spot in the sun, out of the wind, and we'll start having a look over them, shall we? Let's go. Cheeky bit of B-roll there. Right then guys, so this is the Elltech Guardia bag. This is the new one I've just bought. Now this is currently on offer at 50 quid from Optic's Warehouse, apparently reduced from 80, 90 odd quid, something like that. It looks exactly like the nuprol ones, the same sort of layout with the little molly straps and bits on here. This is advertised as a 40-inch bag. However, the overall length of that is basically 44 inches or thereabouts overall length. Now, I needed something slightly more compact. I've got here on the right, you can see my Ridgeline sniper bag. That's a bit of a beast. It's quite bulky. It's actually quite long to put it in the car. So when the XTI is in this, there's quite a lot of spare space at the end. It's a very useful bag. I've been using those for years, but they are, you shopping around, you can get for about 130 quid, something like that. Retails about 150 or thereabouts. So this is a third the price. First impressions is it's actually quite well made, to be honest. I'm quite impressed so far. Everywhere you look, there's little pockets, there's little zippy pouches. We've got a lot of little clips and clasps all over it. I'll show you inside of it first off. So, right, as you can see inside of it then, the XTI is not a huge rifle. I've got a rubber butt pad on here at the moment. I don't have a big butt hook. I do have quite a large scope on here, but I've still got quite a lot of room. Now, I certainly don't think this size would be any good for a large field target rig. This is going to be more pest control sort of work, and definitely going to be a good option if you've got a relatively compact HFT rig. It's got a number of straps inside of it. It's all pretty well put together. Now, the padding in this, directly comparing the Ridgeline to the padding in this one, the padding actually feels just marginally thinner in the Elltech bag. Not a lot in it. However, this does feel a little bit spongier inside. So at the moment that's got a slight edge, but at 50 quid does it really matter? It's got quite a nice padded bit in the bottom here. Now I'll normally always keep old pillowcase, something like that, in the bottom of the bag. I normally have an old towel in there actually just to wipe the rifles off, but it'll also add a little bit of extra protection underneath. So I would certainly add something additional in there over what you get on the bare bag itself. As you can see, I don't have a great big butt hook on here. We've got plenty of space. Now the internal dimensions of the bag, say 42.5 to be on the conservative side. So if your rifle's sort of 40 to 41, you're going to be absolutely fine. You can see that we've got a little bit of wiggle room here. So size wise, it comes up slightly bigger than the advertised size. However, that's certainly not a bad thing. Quoted 3.8 kilos in weight. It's probably there or thereabouts. I'm not going to bother checking it, but it feels a nice substantial weight. It doesn't feel too flimsy. It's got sort of a reassuring weight to it. Now everywhere you look, there's little pockets and bits and pieces concealed on here. So the most obvious bits are these little molly loops on here, which are great if you've got little pouches. That's my little emergency toolkit and my little first aid kit. These little straps, you can clip them on so you can sort of configure your bag to suit whatever you need it to. I do actually like the zips on these little paracord pulls on here. These actually feel a little bit nicer than the spindly little sort of zip pulls that you get on the Ridgeline bag. So I do like those. I'll probably just need to get a pair of pliers on those just to tighten them knots up a little bit, because they look a little bit loose. So that one's just about to come undone, so I need to just nip those up, pull them with a pair of pliers nice and tight. The zips on here, so on the big side pocket and the main pocket, the zips have actually got some little locking tabs there, so you could actually put a mini padlock or something like that on there, which is interesting. You don't have that on the Ridgeline. Right, inside of here, there's a Velcro pocket there. A Velcro pocket there. I don't think you're quite going to get A4 targets in those, but you'd certainly get 17cm targets in there. Again, more pulls on the inside, pockets all over the place. There's another pocket there. There's probably more that I've missed. Everywhere you look, there seems to be a new pocket. Not entirely sure about these front ones. The advantage with the Ridgeline bag is that it has a side pocket that I've actually removed for the moment, so you can take it off if you need additional storage. But on the front here, there's a much larger compartment that you can just zip on and off. Not sure that I like the look of these little pouches. However, elasticated as well, get your drinks bottles and stuff in there, they're pretty good. That one in the middle is, what we got there, 8 inches by say 6 inches. That would be 8 inches by, well, say 4.5 usable space, and the same with that one there. The material looks fairly waterproof and weatherproof. Now they say it's 600 denier nylon or whatever it is. I have no idea what that means. I don't think anyone really does. However, it feels a very, very similar material to what the Ridgeline's made out of. Now this is a few years old. It feels a little bit softer. I guess just because this is new, it feels a little bit more rigid. Do you want your military insignia patches on there? Don't know. Do we need that really? When these are sold by Nuprol, they actually have it listed as a PMC case, so private military contractor case. I mean, yeah, maybe. It seems pretty stout. I certainly don't think that the Ridgeline is massively more robust. Now I do actually prefer the backpack straps on this. So as you saw at the start, I just took it for a little wander around. I was quite keen to get a bag that had backpack straps. Now these straps are not easily removable. On the back of the Ridgeline, you've got quite a clever system here. You can unclip the bottom of these straps and tuck them underneath of this flap, so you don't have to have them out all the time. You can sort of make it a much more slender arrangement. It's designed as a sniper drag bag, so if you were dragging it through undergrowth, of course you don't necessarily want all that in the way. These are not quite as easy to get off. You'd have to dismantle all of the little adjusters on here to take those off of there. However, these straps are actually more comfortable on the shoulder. There's slightly more padding in these than there is on the Ridgeline. I also prefer these larger little metal eyelets on here. You've got much smaller eyelets on the Ridgeline bag. Now, narrower straps, you can feel them in your shoulders however you adjust them, especially if you're walking around just in a shirt. These straps always seem to dig in a little bit. So nice padded straps, little chest piece across there, and loads of adjustment depending on how tall you are or whatever. Quite a nice little bag. Now this is quite interesting. This piece here is what the zip runs up over, the top padding protection if you like. This is more substantial on the cheap Elltech bag than it is on the Ridgeline. It is also more substantial, this part, than on the AIM bags, which are again an industry standard in the field target world. They're a much deeper bag, but if you are looking for something a bit more compact, at 50 quid you can't really go too far wrong. Now the Nuprol branded ones tend to be around sort of 60 to 80 quid, so whilst this is an offer at Optics Warehouse at 50 quid, you can't really go too far wrong. I'll tell you what I did notice though. I didn't notice it last night when I unwrapped it, but you can see here some threads have been picked off. So I don't know whether they buy them in branded as something else and just literally thread pick them to take a patch off. I don't know, but certainly at this price I'm not worried. It certainly feels pretty stout. I'm quite confident that I can leave the XTI in here and nothing bad's going to happen to it. There's a few weird marks inside of here. Now this material, look, it looks a little bit dusty in there. Might be a bit of mould from storage, I don't know, sort of white dusty scum. Might just be off of that silica gel bag. How long this will last, I don't know. So this is a common thing on the AIM bags. This stitching in here tends to fray. I'm sure that it's going to last fairly well, and again at that sort of price I can't grumble too much. I certainly feel confident that it will not drop the XTI on the deck, and I'm hoping instead of buying it from a random bloke off of eBay, buying this through Optics Warehouse if there should be any problems. If that falls out the bag, then we'll go and chuck this back through their workshop. However, I don't think it will come to that. The zips feel pretty stout. The actual zip themselves are larger than the Ridgeline ones. Now I don't know necessarily whether that makes them more robust or not, but the stitching all looks pretty good on here. The only thing that does look like it's been put together in a Chinese sweatshop is the stitching on these little molly loops here. The stitching on the Ridgeline is basically perfect, as you'd expect for a 150 quid-ish bag. We've got a few little wispy ends on here, but really nothing too untoward, nothing that really sort of frightens me and looks like it's going to fall apart straight away. So I'm probably going to get another one actually. I think it would be rude not to. It'd give me a good collection of bags then. I certainly think chucking a towel in the bottom there, maybe need to actually add a couple more webbing loops inside of here to tie the rifles in, I think, a little bit. The Ridgeline has more tie down straps inside and almost has molly loops inside, so that's sort of more configurable. However, that's designed primarily for military applications. This, as a hobbyists, air rifleists, airsoft maybe, I think this would certainly be a good bet if the size works for you. Now, Don't forget, if you're looking for a bag for hunter field target or field target, that rifle is going to be coming in and out of that bag 25 to 30 times on your way around a course, so you do need to make sure that you have a little bit of additional space. When we get back home, we'll offer up my Ultimate Sporter to it. Now that has a fixed moderator on it. I'm not quite sure whether that will fit into this bag. You may need one of the larger versions. Basically everywhere you look, the stitching's all pretty good. We've got reinforcing straps and clips to hold it all together, apart from a little bit of wispy stitching on here and the fact that you can see that they've removed a patch of some description at some stage. That's actually not a bad little bag at all. Feels pretty good, nice size, nice and compact, goes nicely on the back. Quite happy so far. Oh, let's see again. There's another little concealed pouch in there. Everywhere I look there seems to be more, so I've probably missed some pouches on there, but like I say, overall I'm pretty happy. So it's basically inside, we've got at least 42 inches of usable length. I mean, maximum depth there is a foot, 30 centimetres. I reckon if you were on the safe side and said 10.5 inches deep for your rifle, great big FT scope on a big riser rail is not going to fit in this bag, but that's probably when you want to look at something like the bigger Ridgelines, maybe the bigger aim bags, or potentially there's even another Optics Warehouse version, I guess, which is more along the lines of this one. Now, I haven't seen one of those yet, but a couple of my mates have got those and they seem to be pretty impressed with them so far, and I think they're 100 quid thereabouts. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that for the moment. If it falls apart, if anything happens, anything major falls apart on this or anything like that, I will let you know straight away. But if I could do any upgrades to it, I'd probably make some of these pockets removable on the front. So we just had the main body, one large compartment, and maybe some of these that are actually removable. I think that's probably would make it a perfect bag. However, 50 quid, can't go too far wrong. So right, I'm going to get this all wrapped up. I'm going to start loading all my stuff into it. When I get back home, I'll get you some pictures and we'll see whether or not Ultimate Sporter goes in this. I'll see you back at home. Right, then we're back. So I've got the Ultimate Sporter in it, as you can see. Absolutely fits fine. For some reason I thought it wouldn't with the fixed moderator on the end here. Even with that HFT type hamster on there, a small scope will go in here, loads of room actually. So is it the best rifle bag in the world? No. The Ridgeline is a better bag, it's got marginally better padding. However, there's nothing that I've seen to date that comes anywhere near this for 50 quid. I'm quite happy to put the quite expensive XTI in it. That's going to live in here for the meantime, so I'm really quite happy with that. That's a bit of a bargain, to be honest. So that'll do it for this one, guys. I will hopefully catch you at the weekend. We've got some more pellet testing to do and we've got a bit of a break in the weather in the next couple of days, so all being well, I'll see you at the weekend.